Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac Show. I said cognac, ooh, ooh. I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm your bubbly blonde, fabulously dressed to impress. One-of-a-kind girl. I was brought into this world wrapped up in pearls. I love to mingle, though my husband reminds me I'm not single. I meet and greet both the famous and the elite. I ride in limousines, drinking the finest champagne, wearing furs, dazzling diamond jewelry. A girl can't complain. I live the upscale life, dining in the finest restaurants, eating the best caviar for free. And no matter how much I enjoy myself.
Hello, darlings. Welcome back to Cognac's Corner. I'm Cognac Wellerlane, and we are located at the Trump Bar. And I am here with this famous pianist. He's a famous pianist who has studied piano symphonies from all over the world. Am I right about that?
Sort of. You're close to description of my qualification, but I do much more than just playing piano, of course.
Introduce yourself to the camera.
Oh, my name is Igor Yahilovich, better known maybe like a Prince Igor. That's my stage name, since my last name difficult to remember for most.
Prince Igor.
Yeah, it will be better, shorter and just to the point.
Are you really a prince?
I feel like one, you know, so I think it's kind of will fit my personality in a way. However, sure, I'm play piano since age of 6, but I'm also a composer and a musical producer.
You've studied with the best.
Well, I graduated Moscow Conservatory back in Moscow, so it's not accident what I'm still in the show business. And my best qualities will be, I would say, writing music, because I composed 2 movie scores even back in Russia. Here in New York City, I'm since 1974. I was founder of Prince Studios right here in New York City. So through my studio, I met all of the New York, and not only New York, musicians, different styles from jazz to rock and roll, gospel. And that was very helpful for me, because knowing the people, not only on a professional level, we also, perform together, and I guess I'm still doing it. Right now I'm involved in producing a new show of my originals, and actually develop, I would say, new style I call jazz opera.
Jazz opera?
Yes.
Tell my audience, what is jazz opera?
Well, in my opinion, it has both elements. In other words, it's very jazzy as far as the chord structure and the rhythm, yet the vocal part of it, it's a lot of has to do with the opera, because when I was in conservatory, I study vocal, like I have a world-known vocal coach myself, because studying music, one of the discipline was, singing, and so I know very well, even I'm not a singer as far as a performing singer, but I know a lot of it. So for me it was a very challenging, because not only I started like as a classical musician, then I started to play jazz, like standard, then it was more fusion, and then I started to write lyrics for my music, and then idea came all about.
And then you collaborated everything together.
Exactly. So my new project, it will be jazz opera, and I will engage the top jazz musicians and the vocalists. I can bring a couple of names. I know It will be Lenny White on drums, Eddie Gomez on bass, and Dave Liebman, my long associate. This is a well-known saxophone player. I know him since '75 because he was on my first record here. So since then we're collaborating, in different projects. So I'm looking forward to bring it to the world. And besides that, my company brings top Russian artists from Russia here in the United States to tour, and we bring some American musicians back to Russia. So,
and they like American jazz.
Oh yeah, definitely. As a matter of fact, the reason I left Russia in 1973 because it was suppressed then.
Yes. Well, now it isn't, though.
Oh no.
Now it's completely different.
Completely different. It's a different country. And it's a lot of jazz clubs, a lot of musicians, American musicians, jazz musicians, coming to collaborate with Russian musicians over there. And as a matter of fact, for my project, I named few names. Also, as a special guest star, we have top Russian saxophone player and producer Igor Butman. So he was here many times, actually playing with symphony orchestra in Carnegie Hall, and with Marsalis, the trumpeter, and he's a director in Lincoln Center. Both big bands they were playing together. So collaboration between jazz and classical music, it isn't new, and collaboration between Russian and American musicians, jazz and the classical music, it's not new. But jazz opera as a new style, I think it's sort of new. It was jazz, rock opera, it was long time. Jazz opera, because I'm not even talking about Porgy Bess, because was an opera with a jazz elements. As a style I'm talking about. So I think it brings something new to the world, and I'm looking forward.
Interesting. Tell my audience some of the great artists that have inspired you to play piano. Some of the more famous artists.
Americans?
Anyone. Americans, Russian, European.
Right. Well, it's an influence for me. Being a young man, my first great influence was Thelonious Monk, the great jazz piano player. After that, it was a Chick Corea. And actually very, I would say, strong influence, it was Keith Jarrett, whom I met, by the way, in 1967 back in Russia.
Wow.
Where I practically wasn't even playing then. But slowly but surely, we start to develop my own style, and I just want to bring up that I started more as a composer back in Russia because I'm always was interested in writing music.
Not just playing it, but writing it as well.
Yeah, right. As a matter of fact, I would say my composing abilities were kind of superior to my playing. But now I would say they match over the years. And I remember even back in Russia, I composed 2 movie scores, based on, believe it or not again, my favorite phrase, it was based on French detective writer George Simenon. And so I was commissioned to compose music for the government-run TV network.
Fascinating.
So I was like very young then, and my last movie, there was 2 movies, and the last movie I finished just before I was applied to immigrate from Russia, and the producers, they didn't know because they wouldn't let me write music. And I left before it was actually broadcasted, so I had to sneak a tape with my own music because I had to give my passports before I had to leave Russia, so I wasn't able to get inside of that Ostankino big TV center, so I had to stay outside. They brought me out. That's how I got my tapes here.
You are a fascinating man. Will you give me a kiss goodbye, darling? Mwah.
Such a pleasure to meet you.
We'll be back in a moment, darlings, with more celebrity interviews. Keep watching. Pink Champagne Kisses.
For the cognac show. I said cognac, ooh, ooh. I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm a buckley.
This has been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.